Radio. Hi, Christian.
Good afternoon, Dave. How are you?
Fine. I think the question should be more aimed towards you. How are you after your walks?
Not too bad, to be fair. I'm still struggling at the moment with an ankle injury, but it won't stop me. It'll probably slow my progress a little, but I'll continue and keep going. I mean, I've been going now for 434 days. I'm over 2/3 of the way around the entire coast of Great Britain, and, every day is a small victory.
OK. I'll come back to that in a minute, if I may. Just one thing I want to say, sort of, although it's... No, I'll leave until after the interview. It's OK. It was just a little bit of a notice that I need to give out to people, but it can wait until... What inspired this, Christian? What kicked off the whole idea?
What basically happened at sort of the end of 2011, I found myself in a mess and actually became homeless myself. I was depressed. My life had fell to bits, and I was watching on TV at the time the story of Ben Parkinson, who's the ex-para, who was the amputee, and he was learning to walk. And I thought, here's me being depressed, at least I've got my health. And I was also watching at the time a programme called Coast. I was also living in Blackpool at the time and sort of put the two or three things together and wondered, had anyone ever walked the coast of Britain before? I researched it and discovered that it's never been done the way that I'm actually doing it, in the way I'm doing it. Now, because of Ben Parkinson and with me being an ex-soldier myself, I chose to raise money for Help for Heroes. And I also am sleeping rough in some shape or form every single night to raise awareness for homelessness, because there's a huge percentage of the homeless in Great Britain. They're actually ex-forces themselves. So even though I have been offered hotels, B&Bs, people's houses, bedrooms, I always knock them back to sleep in some shape or form, as a homeless person, to raise that awareness.
So this is a conscious choice you're making, sort of, during your walk, not to have the benefits of home comforts, but to sleep rough and to make do with whatever's available to you. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. I mean, when I first started, only a few people, like my close friends and family, knew what I was doing. As you know, I set off on the 8th of August last year, so today is day 434. I've now covered sort of over 5,000 miles. I'm on my 12th pairs of boots, and, as I said, I'm about 2/3 of the way around, but when I first started, it was very difficult, very hard. I didn't get the support I was getting back then, but, the longer it's gone on now, the more people I meet and the more people that follow me on the internet, I've now got people that, that actually want to come out their way and help me, buy me food, give me food, buy me a drink, invite me into their house to do my washing, have a shower, and it's made a huge difference, to be honest, from when I actually first started.
Can I ask you, Christian, what kind of support have you received here in the local area?
Oh, it's just been fantastic. Well, at the moment, I'm currently staying in a garage of a couple I met yesterday. That's Colin and Susan. She's been following me now for quite some time, in fact, before I even come into Scotland. And then she'd noticed that I was uploading pictures, because I have been doing a blog every single day of what day it is, where I've gone from, where I've gone to, and the events of that day. And I also take a picture at least every mile to prove where I am. So Susan kind of guessed where I was. I was actually, at the time, in Pool U. She knew there was only one Wi-Fi spot in the village that I could possibly be at. So she tracked me down at the Pool U Hotel. And she came in, introduced herself, and said, if I haven't got anywhere organised to sleep last night, then I'm more than welcome to come back to theirs, which, I obviously took them up on. Been fed really well, looked after, and it's, it's not just that couple, it's just been, amazing the amount of people I've met along the way that have been supportive of that.
Sorry, you mentioned a blog site. Can I, for the viewers, who might not know about it yet?
I've documented the entire journey on Facebook.
Rather than the viewers, viewers if you're on Facebook.
Yeah. I've documented the entire journey on Facebook under Christian Around Britain.
So that's Christian Around Britain.
Christian Around Britain.
All one word.
No, not all one word, with spaces.
Yeah. Christian Around Britain.
That's correct, yeah.
And that's the Facebook page.
Yeah, that's my Facebook page.
Okay.
I'm also, if you can, I've done many interviews now, and if you were to type into Google Christian Around Britain, I've also got my online donation page for Help for Heroes, which I now think stands at with gift aid, about £127,000.
Right.
Now, when I first set out, I never even could have imagined in my wildest dreams that it would have took off like this. So when I first set out, I initially set my target just to raise £10,000. But, thanks to social media and also because I've been blogging it, it's sort of really become quite popular with people, and people love reading what I've been up to, and they love, hearing the stories, because a lot of news nowadays is all bad news. So reading my blogs, because I always mention the people I meet and what happens, it's sort of rekindling their faith in human kindness, and they just love, looking at what I've been up to.
One thing, Christian, you mentioned you got through 12 pairs of boots.
Yeah, this is my 12th pair of boots now.
And the boots that you've worn out, the new ones have been donated by people along the way?
No, well, I've pretty early on at the beginning. Now, I emailed all the huge companies to tell them what I was up to.
Okay.
And no one was interested, but very early on in the stage, a company called Berkshire Outdoor Leisure decided to give me a go. And, and they've been with me ever since. I think they've been providing my boots since about the 4th pair. I've also, my regimental association, the Lichfield branch of the Staffordshire Regiment, have been fantastic. They've also raised monies to help me with winter kit. And obviously, people along the way have been great with helping me out with kit.
Your sponsors, how do they get the equipment to you, given the fact that you're travelling every day?
Right, what happens is I let my sponsor, Berkshire Outdoor Leisure, know when the boots have got about a week or so left in them. They then pick somewhere along the coast, whether that be a pub, a hotel or somewhere, and then they next day deliver the boots to that place, obviously phoning them up first to confirm that it'd be okay to take delivery of those. And so by the time I get there, they're there waiting for me. I put on my new boots and I'm off again.
What kind of training did you do to prepare yourself for this?
Well, when my life felt a bit, so I still had a few possessions left, and I decided to sell everything I owned between the November and December of 2011. So my vehicle, furniture, computers, anything that was worth any money got sold either to friends or on eBay. What they didn't buy got give to charity shops, and what the charity shops didn't want got put in a bin. And then from January to July, all I did then was get fit again, and also practice living rough. I spent, 7 months walking up and down Britain on the canal towpath networks because I didn't want to spoil any of the coast. And that's how I spent, I spent 7 months getting ready for this. So this now will be actually kind of my 3rd winter living outdoors and walking.
And how do you find it, living outdoors in the winter?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I don't mind the cold. It's when it's wet it becomes difficult, especially, because it's very hard to dry your kit when you're living out. And I've also, the last couple of weeks the temperature has dropped, but more so in the last 3 or 4 nights. Now, it's been about 18, 20 degrees in the sun, and I've been blessed with the sunshine the last week or so. But as soon as that sun drops behind the sea or behind the hills, then the temperature goes, right down drastically in half an hour, and it has got very cold.
I have to ask you, you're obviously very upbeat, even though you've covered an awful long way, and clearly with all the support from both sponsors and local people, that's been great. But what has been your worst experience so far?
There's been a few, to be honest. I've gone through all sorts. I have gone through the mill, and that's when I set out on the 8th of August last year, my biggest enemy to start with was just non-stop rain. I couldn't have chose a worse year to start on, because 2002, the autumn and winter of 2012 was the wettest on record for 100 years. And at times, I remember and I've got pictures and videos documenting it, but at times I was actually wading knee-deep through villages, in water that are all flooded. It just was relentless, to be honest. I've also, when I was asleep on a park bench in Plymouth, another homeless guy tried to rob me. I've come through some, real hard spots, to be fair, but it's my determination, really, and my not wanting to quit that keeps me going. And what does really help is some of the most amazing messages. I get some fantastic messages off people off Facebook, following me saying, well done, keep going, keep smiling, don't give in. That keeps me going.
Do you have an email connection as well for people who might want to?
No, it's all done on Facebook.
Okay, right.
My biggest nightmare, really, to be fair, and always has been electricity. Because these smartphones, I'm documenting everything off an iPhone, and as you know, they don't last very long. I try to keep it as simple as possible. I do all my pictures, my blogs, and everything off that iPhone. I've also now got set up a support page, a Christian Around Britain support page. This was set up a long time ago by a guy called Bob Duncan, who's ex-army. I'd never met him myself at the time, and he realised how I was struggling to cope with messages of offers of support. So he decided to set up a support page. I've now got a fantastic team of people that work behind the scenes. Many of them are employed anyway, so in their spare time they sift through messages, organise things, and are there for me. Should I have any problems? And I just want to say, thank you to those guys. I probably don't say it much, but I really appreciate and I know what you do for me all. I couldn't have done this. In fact, I couldn't have got this far without you guys and without the help of the people of Britain I've met along the way.
A couple of things before we conclude, Christian. First of all, you started out from Blackpool.
That's right, yeah.
And that's where you'll end up.
That's where I'm going to finish back,
and what will you do then?
I've no idea, to be honest. I mean, all I worry about is what I'm doing today. I take each day as it comes. I mean, I'm forever getting messages of people asking me, when am I going to be in such and such a place?
Yes.
Most of the time, I haven't even got a clue or never heard of the place. When I get an Ordnance Survey map, I get my Ordnance Survey maps in 2s or 3s. The first thing I do is throw the 2 I won't need for a while in the bottom of my kit. Then the one I'm going to need, I'll cut it in half, throw the other bit away, and I just literally, live day by day. The most I've managed to do in one day was 31 miles, and the least I've managed to do is 3 miles. No day's ever the same. No weather's ever the same. The ground's never the same. And despite a lot of people saying on the internet that I'm a machine or whatever, I'm not. I hurt, I bleed, I cry. I've had sickness, illness, injury, ever since I started.
I must say, 31 miles in a day is fair going.
It was a 10-hour day.
I remember doing the coast to coast and walking 25 miles in one day. Thinking that is a long way.
That was, obviously in the height of the summer. It was still early on into the stage. In fact, while I was at Colin and Susan's house earlier, they actually gave me use of the laptop, which you can do a hell of a lot more on it. Yes. Now, I was reading through some of my old blogs, just passing the time and also jogging my memory. Right. And I read through New Year's Day's blog, and I noticed that I set out on the 8th of August. So from the 8th of August to the 1st of January, I'd only had 10 days off from walking back then. I mean, now I'm sort of, because I'm, suffering at the moment, I'm having to take more days off and lower the mileage I'm managing to do.
There's a couple of things I wanted to ask you, sort of, and then we'll round up the interview, if I may, Christian.
Sure.
The first thing is, I suppose, what kind of real practical help would you need from here on in, like tomorrow? Or?
Well, to be fair, I mean, at the moment, and as people that have been following me on the internet know that I am, struggling with an old injury at the moment. Now, the biggest help, I've had so much help recently with people from the Highlands that have managed. Now, I carry kit with me, which is, it weighs about 30 kilos or 66 pounds, depending on how old you are. But quite a lot of people have been dropping my kit forward, so it leaves me just walking, carrying a small day sack. So getting that weight off my back is a huge help. It's really helped me get more miles in the day than what I would have done had I been carrying it. But yeah, I mean, anything like that. I mean, I get quite a lot of people that come out to find me to say hello. Quite often bring me, energy pop or snacks. So no, it's been great.
Well, I'm going to say, how will they recognise you? Because you're in the studio here, but I can say that, well, you
I'm pretty.
describe yourself?
Well, I'm usually the only nutcase, depending. I'm usually the only nutcase that wears shorts through all weathers.
Well, you're wearing what I would describe
combat
as
jacket,
a combat jacket
and shorts. Yeah.
Okay, you've got a crew cut. Well, not quite a crew cut. Fair hair with a bit of a beard there.
Yeah. No, you can't miss me. To be fair. Yeah. And I've always got my thumb up. But I'm not hitching a lift, though.
One thing I didn't ask you going back, where are you actually from? You're not from Blackpool?
No, I'm not. No, I'm from the Midlands, rural Staffordshire, and my mother and father live in a little village called Yoxall in the middle of nowhere that no one's ever heard of. But it's a beautiful place. But the only thing for me that's missing is the sea.
Well, you've got plenty of background here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
I suppose you get a chance to swim, do you?
Well, no, I have occasionally, but not this time of year. No, I'll leave that to the guy that's more nuts than me that's swimming the length of Britain.
For those of you who are waiting for what's on, I'm interviewing Christian Nock on Westering Home. It's the guy who's walking backwards. No, not backwards, but he's walking the other way round.
Yeah, anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise round Britain. And he's in the studio to describe some of his experiences. Now, if you actually want to find out a little bit more about how you can help Christian on his fundraising event for Help for Heroes, he's got a blog site, and it's Christian Around Britain. That's 3 separate words, Christian Around Britain, and that's on the Facebook. His Facebook page, and from there presumably you'll find a contact to his online donation page, which is Help for Heroes.
That's it, you'll find the donation link there. I post it quite frequently.
And what's important about this particular travel that Christian's undertaking is that he's not taking advantage of home comforts to advertise the plight of homeless people. He's living rough, and he's using much less homely accommodation in his, shall we say, in his travels to illustrate sort of, the fact that he himself was once homeless.
Well, since I've started this journey, I've slept everywhere now, from a cave with a seal, a multi-storey car park, barns, stables, sheds, shelters, shop doorways. I've occasionally found churches that were left open at night times, derelict buildings, and, people have now been putting them up in garden sheds, garages. So, yeah, anywhere but, inside in the warm.
Christian, thanks very much for coming in. It's been really, really good to interview, and I hope your both your experiences and the messages that come from your experiences will echo sort of, with local people, and good luck on the journey all the way back to Blackpool, I believe.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Just remind me how many miles you've got to go.
Well, no one actually really knows, but it's, a couple of thousand. So, yeah.
Good luck on the journey.
Thank you, yeah.
Okay, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks very much, Dave. Thanks for having me, guy.